All right. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. This is another episode of Unscripted Strength Day. As always, I have no idea what episode we're on. I think it's 26. Am I right?
I think so. I think you're right.
Okay.
Let
It's
me
probably episode 26. That would be my guess. But today we have a very special guest, Dr. David Skolnik, doctor of physical therapy, personal trainer, former powerlifter, current powerlifter. Not sure where that's at, but, lover of powerlifting and all things weights. Also has his own podcast. David, what is your podcast that just came out?
Smarter Strength, the Smarter Strength podcast.
Yeah, so go listen to that as well. I just finished the newest episode. It's fantastic. I'm talking about the nuances of talking to clients about very specific questions. That was what you just went over, which I love. Saying kind of like a yes and, or it depends, and then following up with that, which is what I do all day as a coach. I know Day does it as well. When people are like, should I do this? And you're like, well, it depends. And yeah, I think this is obviously a tangent immediately, but great podcast. Listen to it, please, if you're a coach or just a normal person. But yeah, we have David on today. As always, I'm Ethan. That is, I don't know which side you're on for the camera, but Coach Day. Coach Day, would you like
What's
to
up?
introduce yourself today?
Me?
Yeah.
No, we're going straight to David.
Okay, perfect.
If you don't know, it's too late.
Yeah, that's
It's too
true.
late.
So, David, we normally do start our podcast by talking about what our training is like. So, we're gonna throw you into the deep end, and you get to tell us what your training has been like recently.
Cool, great. I actually had another trainer at the gym where I work with most of my clients ask me what I was training for today, and the answer is life. I saw a great answer, kind of like a variation of that, which was I'm not really training for anything, but if something comes up, I'll be ready. So that's sort of the framework I'm training under right now. What that actually looks like in practice is 2 to 3 strength-oriented sessions and then 3 conditioning sessions. So I'm kind of on the conditioning train right now, enjoying like a framework-based progressive conditioning routine, maybe more so than I've ever enjoyed, and also more in a more structured way than I've ever done. So strength days are looking like a bench-focused day. You mentioned powerlifting. I don't compete anymore, but I want to get my bench back up and maybe do like a bench only in a powerlifting meet at some point in the future. So a bench focused day, kind of push pull with bench being primary, and then a leg focused day, some sort of a squat pattern, some sort of a hinge pattern, some sort of a lunge pattern, and if I have time, some accessories. If I get a third lift in, it's usually kind of what I did yesterday, which is like some single joint accessories, 2 to 3 sets, trying to get as close to failure as I can in like the 12 to 20 range, and then trying to be like a little bit more athletic than the average dad. So when I'm resting between sets of like biceps, it was like pogos, lateral pogos, like deep tier plyos. My daughter likes to pretend to be a frog, and she wants me to be a frog as well. And so if I don't want my knees to hurt and I want to be like Daddy Frog, then I got to practice like some little froggy hops more than just when she asks me to. And then conditioning wise, I utilize the OPEX MAP framework. So MAP stands for Max Aerobic Power. So they've got levels 10 to 1, kind of starting with an effort you could sustain all day. So like I'm just going to go out and hike, and it's an 8-mile hike, and it's going to be no problem type of pace, all the way down to a 30-second effort at a pace you could maximally sustain for 2 minutes. So it's a lot of like 4-to-1 ratio pacing. Today was a MAP 6 day, so 10 minutes on, 4 minutes off, and I did 10 Stairmaster, 4 off, 10 treadmill run at 8-minute mile pace, 4 off for 4 rounds. My other conditioning day that's a little shorter is like right now 3 on, 2 off, and I'll usually mix up the modalities. So assault bike row, incline run, a carry complex with a row work, something like that, kettlebell swings. And then Sundays is a long run. So adding a third of a mile a week. Last Sunday was 5.4. Next Sunday will be 5.6. Maybe a half marathon in the fall, maybe a high rocks early part of 2027.
Yeah.
Doing all the things. Yeah. So therefore I will be ready for everything.
That's awesome. You know what's one thing I really like that you mentioned is that for your long runs, you add like a third of a mile every week, because so often I see people where they're just slapping on a mile like a full mile. Like, hey, today I did 6, next week 7, and then 3 weeks. Like in 3 weeks, you're doing 10 miles, and I'm saying that as someone who's done that multiple times. Like, and I just never thought of just like breaking it down. Like, I don't know why I lived by doing that. Like, I had to increase it by a mile versus, you could break it up into a quarter mile, a third of a
Yeah.
mile. Way more
I think
sustainable.
the farther you go, the more it makes sense to increase those intervals a little bit. And I'm not doing this based on like, some article I read or anything. It just kind of feels right. But I've done it where I've done like half a mile a week for 3 weeks and then a mile, and then half a mile a week for 3 weeks and then a mile, or something like that, where I kind of set a distance goal and I figure out a reasonable progression. So maybe once I hit like a 10K distance, then maybe I start adding a half mile. But to add a little more specificity, my goal is to maintain my pace. So, right, my Sunday long run is supposed to feel pretty easy. And so my goal is, can I add a third of a mile, keep the same pace, and it doesn't feel any harder? That is progress. And this week, it was one of those weeks where I don't necessarily track my pace other than what Strava tells me every half mile. And I ran like 20 seconds per mile faster than the previous like 4-week average, and it felt like the exact same effort level. And that's kind of like a cool benchmark of, oh, my fitness is improving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And I've done the same thing, where I think in the High Rocks thing I did that exactly. When Day and I were training for a High Rocks, I went from almost no mileage to like very quick increasing, and then it was a terrible idea, very bad idea. But sometimes you hope the plan's gonna work out. You're like, I'll be fine. This is gonna be fine, and then it's not fine very quickly.
I mean, it's kind of like, it takes a lot of patience to improve your aerobic system. It takes a lot of patience to improve strength, but aerobic is harder. Like, just the benchmarks are so kind of obscure if you don't have a system that you're following and like knowing why decisions are being made. But I would kind of compare it to like weight loss and dieting, where people always want to lose weight faster, and you're like, do the math. By the end of the year, you weigh 4 pounds.
Yeah.
That's not realistic. Like, you can't 4 pounds a week for 52 weeks.
Yes.
That's 400
wild.
pounds, and you weigh
Yeah.
200 right now. You're like negative 200. That's dead. Same with it's like, I'm going to do a mile a week. It's like, so you're doing a double ultra marathon at the end of the year? That's your goal?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you're like, that's where you're going to be.
Yeah. Well, so I have a problem with dumb things. You said you can do, it just feels right to you to do the mileage this way. I really like testing out things that just feel wrong, And there's this ultra runner that I follow. He does backyard ultras, and he did every day of the month is the mileage you do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 30. And I was like, I want to try this, and immediately was like, I can't do this. This is a terrible idea. But every time I see this clip come up, I'm like, what if I just tried this?
Maybe do kilometers first.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. See, talk me into something stupid. This sounds like a great idea.
Because then you're going like 17 miles on the last day of the month or something like that.
Yeah, instead of 30 miles or 31 miles. Yeah, God.
Yeah.
God, day 31 would be
great
terrible.
Content. You should do that. You should speak in a British accent. You should talk about how like the metric system's better. It's a whole thing.
I'm in. This sounds great. See how many followers I can get who think I have a British accent, and then on day 32 cut the accent completely and be like, hey guys, starting a new challenge here. Just gonna pick up on lifting again.
Fucking pounds freedom.
Yeah. We're back to freedom units, boys and girls.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you real quick on that note, though. Is there a type of training or a block you've done that it was dumb, but you just had fun doing it? And how often do you do that? Maybe not anymore, but...
I don't know that I have that combo recently. I've had like dumb, stubborn, not fun. That was the last powerlifting prep I did, like full powerlifting meet. Wow. Oh, okay. So yeah, dumb. All right. Yeah, full powerlifting prep while training for a 10K simultaneously, and then wondering why my knee hurts so bad on sumo.
Okay. How long did you do that for?
I think it was like a 9-week peak, right? So like a true powerlifting peak
to
a meet, plus like my back hurt every day. My knee started hurting more and more to the point where I was like, maybe I'll just switch back to conventional deadlifting. Like that makes my back feel way worse. I'm not nearly as strong. Back to sumo, knee hurts again. I think I got one deadlift And then I think I made like literally the smallest jump you can, which is ridiculous on deadlifts. Like I think I opened at 407 and then jumped to like 412. It's like, this is so lame. And then just scratched my third. Yeah, I did run a 10K like 48 hours later. And I remember like I kind of like vlogged this training. And I can't tell you how many people at the meet came up to me. They're like, dude, I can't believe you're training for a marathon. You're just like, you only powerlift. You have no idea what a 10K is. You just you go straight to marathon. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the K stands for, but it looks like you're going forever. That's crazy.
Yeah. 5 miles. It's like a marathon.
Yeah. I couldn't walk that far.
That was my last. Like, I'm gonna train for something and just ignore everything my body tells me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I haven't done that in like 2 years.
2 years isn't that long ago. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many powerlifting meets? Sorry. How many powerlifting meets have you done, and how was this? And how did this one compare?
Oh, it was awful. My performance was terrible. Like my shoulder was bugging me. Squats were the only thing that felt good, but it was kind of like a token. I don't know. I went into this meet not trying to try that hard. Like I wanted everything to be like an RPE 8 or 8.5 because the run was actually the priority. And I accomplished that with squat, but then like some bicep tendonitis kind of flared up late in the prep, which probably came after the elbow pain that always comes with like low bar squatting and benching on the same day for weeks on end. But I started competing in 2017. My first meet was just under 3 years after I had a microdiscectomy to repair a herniated disc, L5S1. And then I competed, oh my gosh, I've probably done 7 or 8 full meets. Best was I hit the minimum qualifying standard to go to IPL Worlds in 2021. So I competed at Worlds in Orange County in 2021. So that was my best meet and best total. So what was my total? 1297 pounds at 198 body weight or something like that, which put me in dead last at Worlds. It was great. It was a fun experience. But yeah. After that was like the last meet I prepped for that it didn't feel like I was injuring myself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I just never felt great to squat really heavy or deadlift really heavy. And so I've kind of pulled very far back from barbell stuff at this point.
Yeah.
In my own training.
Sure. I mean, yeah, just that many years of that kind of training, I think just it must weigh on your body at some point. It just has to.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever built for it. Like I'm tall. Like I'm 6'2", which in powerlifting it's like if you're not in the 272 weight class or more, what are you doing? Right? Like I literally at Worlds I walked out for my first squat and like the play-by-play guy who like is broadcasting into the room so I can hear it too. He literally just goes, he just goes, that's the tallest motherfucker in here. Like that's not a compliment in powerlifting. That's not what you want in your weight class.
Everyone's probably like, why aren't you in super heavyweight? Why aren't you fat yet? What are you doing?
Yeah, for real.
You should be fat. What are you doing?
Yeah, like I remember being at meets and coaches who didn't think I knew what I was doing. They're like, you should really sit down between your attempts. You're like, I run. Like I'm fine.
Why aren't you sweating and out of breath yet? Where's your candy? What are you doing?
I cross train. But I love it. I mean, like I love a powerlifting meet. I love coaching for that. I wish I had been better. I wish I had been a stronger lifter.
Sure.
Would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, fond memories.
Fun. How did you find powerlifting? What got you into that?
I was looking for a competitive outlet in 2017 because I was coming off of 2016 was a year where I was extremely anxious, like extremely clinically depressed and suicidal. And I think part of that was like not having a lot of competitive outlets. I love the gym, right? And like, so squat, bench, deadlift in terms of familiarity, like I did them, right? So it wasn't like Olympic lifting or something where there was this giant skill gap. And yeah, so I started just training for a local powerlifting meet. So my first meet was in Oregon, like the Oregon State Championships in 2017.
Very cool. That's awesome. I mean, a good outlet to find, and I definitely get finding something like that.
Yeah, like purpose for training, right? Like growing up as an athlete. I loved the gym, but then like over that course of the previous year, like my motivation to train had also just like completely disappeared. And so putting something on the calendar was more important in 2017 than it had been for a long time.
Sure. Dave, did you have a question?
Yeah, with that, because you said you did train leading up to that, but then
Yeah.
found powerlifting. Is that okay? Because, like, yeah, in that scenario, right, you were saying that you were clinically depressed, and it's like, we all know, like, we're pretty familiar with that, like, wellness and moving and all that helps with mental health. So I was wondering, because, I mean, not a lot of people, like, who, a lot of people who are clinically depressed maybe don't go to the gym, and then it's taking that first step versus you already had that and then found that competitive outlet through powerlifting.
Yeah. And what was weird, well, I mean, so part of depression, right, is things that were previously enjoyable are no longer enjoyable. And so for the first time, I'd had like a 9 month period where I didn't want to go to the gym. So that was very bizarre. And so, like, once I started just enjoying going for a run, getting back in the gym, then it became like, let's do something more competitive, something where I've got more structure. Like, again, something on the calendar was more important at that point to me. And powerlifting was kind of like a natural step in that direction. Yeah.
You know, we've talked, Dave and I, on the podcast, we talked about, depression and anxiety quite a bit. And I'm curious, when you found this switch over, or when you found powerlifting, how long, and I guess, were there any other things like that you were doing in life to kind of move yourself or help move in the direction of feeling better, of doing things every day? Like, you didn't, maybe you did. We found powerlifting, and then overnight, things turned over. Yeah. What was that like? How did that help out? What were you doing at the time?
Dude, so 2016, it was like a 9 month rapid spiral of very even keel. Like, I'm a very even keel person. I don't have a lot of highs, don't have a lot of lows. It's like the people around me, it was very surprising, like when I started to struggle with anything. And so, I mean, so let's see, got diagnosed, I think, maybe January of 2016. And I made a suicide attempt in July of 2016 and a second suicide attempt in September of 2016. I was in like inpatient psych rehab twice. And then it was nothing I did. Like, I had no hope whatsoever. It was just like family members kind of encouraging me to try and do this or that, and me saying yes so they would stop bothering me and I could just literally go back to bed.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, I would say I was feeling better to get out of the psych hospital, even though I didn't feel any better. And so what actually ended up happening was, the second time I was in a psych hospital, they transferred me from Oregon up to this facility in Washington where they did a procedure called ECT, so electroconvulsive therapy, which, layman's terms, right? It's like, if you've ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it's literally like the new school version of
Whoa.
like pads on your head and electrical stimulation, and you're under a light general anesthesia, right? So it's like, I'm out with laughing gas in an operating room, and I think I don't remember how many of those treatments I had, but yeah, with no actual action on my part, that is what flipped a switch. Like, I just,
How fascinating.
after 2 or 3 of those treatments, it was like my brain just like came back online, and I was capable of feeling happiness again. It was,
Yeah.
and then so, like, very quickly, I discharged from there, and it was almost like I just reset to 9 months earlier, as if it had never happened. It was wild. I don't know anyone else who had the experience I had.
Is that like a common thing they
No
do
idea.
with people?
Oh, no.
Yeah, because I've never heard that before.
No, I had gone on multiple different psych medications. I'd had genetic testing to see if there's a genetic component. It was like, maybe this is like 30 years of like undiagnosed OCD that came to a head. None of the medications helped at all. Like, I only felt worse, like, month over month over month over month over month, which of course just like reinforces the fact that you won't feel better because you keep trying things that don't work.
Sure.
Like, talk therapy didn't really help. It was literally like a last ditch effort.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
That is
And so,
crazy.
Wow.
yeah, and it was, I can't explain it, which is
Yeah.
probably why, like, I have no fear of those symptoms ever coming back, because it was like this fucking blip, and then like a switch just flipped.
Had you dealt with depression early in life at all? No.
Nope, no depression, no anxiety, no diagnosis of anything.
Whoa.
Yeah.
They said.
I can make hypotheses about like the confluence of events that led to just becoming extremely overwhelmed, and I think probably just like a mental break, as opposed to like a slow breakdown. Like, it was just a mental break that happened, right? Because I've heard of that happening, right? And you need called like a ketamine therapy or something, where it's like incapable of anything, and then something chemically changes, and it's like, boop, I'm back. But yeah, that's the closest thing I can explain to my experience.
Well, they just like defibrillated your brain.
It's like recalibrated it.
Yeah. Again, like part of me thinks, I mean, I have the most vivid memories of like I was depressed for long enough that it's like I haven't felt happy in a very, very long time. And then you get like the 5 seconds of laughing gas and like the euphoria of that. And part of me wonders if that was actually something that worked as like a treatment in a way.
Sure.
Right? It's like tricked my brain, like it overrode whatever was happening. It was just like primitive. I just hit your happy button like in your brain before you go to sleep. Yeah. Who knows?
How interesting. I mean I mean that's awesome that it worked and you know you made it through with that. It's just that's fascinating. Yeah.
Like
that's wild.
I remember taking like a thank you card to like the inpatient psych facility in Oregon where I'd been twice, like to give to the staff. And they're like, "Oh, do you guys like the front desk was like, oh, is there a patient here who you're dropping this off for?" And I was like, "Oh no, like I was a patient. I'm bringing a thank you card for the staff." And they're like, "No one's ever done that before." Like people here don't really get better, you know.
Yeah. They were like, "Are you a patient that got out? What are you doing here?"
It's really interesting. So yeah,
that's wild.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I know that you post a lot and talk a lot about mental health, which I know Dan and I both appreciate. I think it's I just think it just gets to, you know, I think everyone deals with it and people are just like nervous to talk about it, but like we all deal with stuff and we all struggle and we all need support from friends and community and trying stuff, you know. And I talk about it at the gym all the time. Like I said on the podcast last time, but like I'm on antidepressants right now, and you know I've dealt with it my whole life, and yeah, I just think opening up the dialogue to like unique situations like this and stuff you've done can be helpful, and hopefully it's helpful to at least anyone who listens and is dealing with it. You know.
Yeah, one person would be worth it, right?
Yeah, just one person hearing this and like, oh fuck, maybe I should call someone or do something, or even knowing like I've spent years of my life feeling like that not happiness feeling, just like neutral in like just like inside where you're like nothing feels, you know.
Yeah.
That's not a normal feeling. If anyone listens to this, like, and if you feel like that, you can reach out to people and be like, hey, this is how I feel. And the weirdest is when you tell someone that the first time and they go, that's not normal. And you're like, oh, okay. Really? That's fucking great to hear, actually. Because I'm curious about why I feel like this all the time. So, you know, mental health matters. Talk about it. So, well, I appreciate you sharing. I do have a question about your training. Actually, you know what? I do want to ask this. I don't know why I was thinking about this question so much. This is a silly question to go to about that, and then I'll back it up a little bit. You're stuck on a desert island and can only have 3 beers. What are they? And I only ask this because yes, I know that you like your fancy beers. I've seen the posts.
God, that is such a challenging question. I don't know that I can give you the most specifics. I think like I've got to have an IPA.
Okay.
I've always loved IPAs. So I would probably go, like I would want something kind of like nostalgic, something that reminded me of like Oregon where I grew up. So if I wanted like a kind of a strong, you know, I'm on a desert island, this kind of sucks. Like I'm in my feelings today. I want a strong IPA, maybe like a Boneyard IPA, which is from Bend, Oregon. Boneyard makes really good beer. I think I would do like an easy drinkable beer, again from Oregon. There's a brewery called Freem, Pfriem. It's in Hood River, so it's like right on the Columbia River in the gorge. So it also makes me think of like where I would be drinking that beer. I mean, hopefully the desert island is like kind of pretty. But Freem makes a Pilsner that's really freaking good. So if you can see it, and if you pronounce it right, whoever you're buying it from is going to be really impressed. It looks like
Freem.
It looks like Freem. It's Freem. And then, you know what? I think I would do some sort of a sour. I've been into like smoothie sours. Like the not like a kettle sour where you're just like that tastes like, I don't know what that is, but like a juicy, there's like these smoothie, like whipped sours. There's this one that has like, it looks like Cool Whip with all these like weird monster fruits coming out of it. It's this really cool can art. And I can always find it at this spot like close to my house. Yeah. So yeah, I would get like a fruity sour. Those would be my 3.
A fruity sour. Yeah, you know, we've spent a little bit of time together, but I think last year when went to coach 'em up. You had a couple beers, and I remember you talking about them. But so I worked at Whole Foods for a little bit, and I worked in the beer section. And I just know, when I see someone post, and I've seen you post these, I know by how someone posts and the beer types they have if someone's a beer person. So I needed to ask this question.
Yeah,
I can spot a beer person from a mile away.
I mean, my 21st birthday was celebrated with 100 cup versus 100 cup beer pong. 3-on-3. That was before we went out. That was, of course, it was my birthday.
There we go.
I was really good at beer pong. That was my sport in college.
You're tall. That's why you win.
Yeah.
You dump them right in. Yeah.
Yeah. It's why I retired from track. I just needed to focus full time on beer pong.
Honestly, I get that.
Yeah.
Competitive beer pong.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Campus champion, 2009, I think. Campus
Wait, were you really?
64 team tournament, dude.
Whoa! I thought you were messing around. That's so sick.
I'm very good at beer pong.
I thought, I was just rolling with the joke. I didn't know there was.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, no, I was lethal. I was lethal with a ping pong ball.
That's hilarious.
How's your behind the back game? Are you good behind the back?
I was one of the best at behind the back. Like if I got the ball back, there was a decent. I think I had a game-winning single cup left behind the back win. Maybe
Whoa,
twice.
dude!
Insane.
Now I feel like I have to play against you because I'm pretty good at beer pong as well. But based on how you're talking, I'm getting smoked.
I mean, if we went a time machine back like 15 years, you'd have no chance. Right now, I'm not sure.
I love the confidence of this, and I also agree. You're probably right. I'm not even 5'11", dude. I'm not winning. You're like 6'4", 6'3".
Four, if not 5 nights a week for like 3 straight years.
That is so sick, honestly. I love that. That is great. What a hidden talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when you could put
God.
beer in the cups. Back when you could put beer in, like people didn't have a side beer in water cups. Germs.
People do that. People do that now.
Yeah, people. It's like it's too unsanitary to like put actual beer in cups. You're like,
the health maxing. But don't you think the health maxing would be you put your hand in the beer with the disgusting hands because then you're not going to get sick maybe, and your immune system, that's health maxing.
For sure. I mean, like
we need to get the germs.
If you have enough beer inside you at all times, like what kind of germ is going to survive that kind of environment?
Nothing at all. You'll be fine. Yeah. It's the way we think about energy drinks now. If I just drink enough energy drinks, do I actually have to have a good nutrition? No.
Yeah.
I don't. No.
Yeah, I put my
water
almond tea in my Red Bull.
Yeah, it's fine.
Done.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have an actual question about training?
Well, that is a question I have on my sheet. The question I do have now that we have kind of figured out some of your training history from the front end, first of all, being a competitive beer pong player is probably the most important thing we've learned today. Mm-hmm. I do want to know what young David was like. Were you in sports as a kid, and how did you go from like training as a kid in life and school? Were you an academic? Were you kind of like a jock? And then how did you get into physical therapy school?
Yeah, definitely an athlete. Always loved sports. Best birthday present I ever got was I think I got a basketball hoop when I was 7, and then my dad rented a jackhammer and put it in our driveway, cemented it in, and so I had like an adjustable 6 foot to 10 foot hoop.
Shout out to dads.
Basketball for sure, favorite sport by far. NBA finals actually start tonight, so basketball by far my favorite sport. I played soccer. I played a couple years of Little League baseball, but that was too boring, right? It was like I was like a kid on first base doing everything while some kid was picking flowers in right field. And I was like, put me back on the soccer field. I was really fast as a kid. I was like fairly tall early on. So I played soccer. I was always like a forward. Played basketball. So soccer started probably 1st grade. Basketball started 3rd grade. I played 1 year of high school. I was just telling a client about this today. I played 1 year of high school soccer my freshman year. I made like JV2 because I realized middle school, I could just be bigger and faster than everyone. In high school, like you actually have to be good at soccer. I was not. Mm-hmm. I just thought I was. I was no longer fast enough to get away with having no left foot. So I played 1 year of high school soccer. I got cut from my high school basketball team, which was devastating. And then I went out for track for the first year. So I did track my freshman year. And then sophomore through junior year, I played basketball for the school. And then I ran track. And then in college, I did 2 years of track and field. So I was a long jumper, triple jumper, and like short sprints. So like 4x1, sometimes 4x4. I would usually skip the 400 meter workout days and be like, I need to work on my jumping technique. I'm gonna go take 16 steps and jump in the pit a few times. But those were my best events. I was a good long jumper and a good triple jumper. But I really loved just like lifting weights, you know. And so college, I went to school for exercise science because once I realized I could study that, I was like, that's a no-brainer. I applied to 2 schools, both because they had exercise science programs, and then kind of quickly that became pre-physical therapy. So that was the route. It was like a 4-year undergrad in exercise science / minoring in beer pong. And then since you can't really go pro in that, you know, take a year off, get some clinical experience, and then I went back for physical therapy school.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I bet there's pro beer pong now.
Looking now, probably, yeah, like ESPN 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, I probably loved the gym more than anything except just straight up playing basketball. I just loved being in the gym from the first time I took like a weight training class, like 8th grade. We got to go down into like the weight room, which was attached to like the wrestling room because my middle school was formerly a high school, so it had like a high school weight room in it that no one used. And then sophomore year of high school, I took weight training as my PE class. I think I went from like 130 to 160, right? Like sophomore year, because you're just like, what better time to start lifting weights? Like you're growing and like basically on steroids naturally. Mm-hmm. And then I took it again my senior year, and yeah, I just always loved lifting.
What about it did you love? Was there a teacher? Was there a mentor? Or did you just like get your first pump and you're like, well, this is what I'm doing here?
You know what I think it is, honestly, was growing up watching basketball, there was always like an intrigue, like 90s and early 2000s basketball. There's guys like David Robinson and Karl Malone, who if you didn't know better, you'd be like, oh, that's a bodybuilder. Like if you look at them now, like they were just jacked. And for some reason that was like always like appealing to me. It was like, I want to look like if you look up David Robinson, it's insane.
Day and I would both have to look it up because
look him up. David Robinson's nickname was the Admiral. Like he went to Navy and then got drafted. He's like 7'1".
Shit.
I see a picture now.
Like how jacked is that dude?
He has like the craziest shoulders, yeah.
Yeah, and that guy was just like out there.
But yeah,
he had like a 50-point quadruple double. He was also one of like hands down. He's one of the 75 best players of all time. Like you look up Karl Malone, same kind of thing, just like bigger and stockier. You're just like,
man, he's shredded,
right?
Same.
And so that was always appealing. And so it was like that combination of, you know, like basketball players, unlike football players are huge, but they're also wearing pads. It's harder to see. Basketball players just like shorts and a tank top. Something about that, you know, it was like really good basketball players also look like that. So I want to look like that and play basketball.
Absolutely.
And then eventually, right, it was like I wasn't that good at basketball, but like I just loved the idea of training. I think I said this on a podcast the other day where like if I found out next week that exercise had 0 benefits for my health, the first place I would go is to the gym. Like it doesn't. That's not why I go.
Yeah, you said it. I think you said on your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You said on yours. That's yeah, that's interesting. You just keep going. You'd be like, I think you said even if it wasn't good, you'd be like, well, I think you muted yourself.
Yeah, if it had 0 effect on my health.
Yeah.
I would still go to the gym. Like I just really, I mean, I train, I train people, right? I've traveled and taught in gyms. I host workshops in gyms. I've taught anatomy in a gym.
Yeah.
I've been in clinics in gyms. Like I just want to be in the gym, obviously. So.
Have you ever thought about opening your own gym?
Yeah. Not seriously.
Yeah.
I've always said like, if I didn't have to make any money from the gym, I would open a gym.
That's fair. Yeah, the business stuff is the hard part. That's the not fun part.
That's the really hard thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, you want to ask your questions?
Yeah. So David, I know you're a dad.
Yes.
You have one daughter, two?
One daughter, one son.
Okay, one daughter, one son. All right, cool. So your dad, you're a PT, you're a coach. What are some things that you try to instill in like the upbringings of your kids, right? Because I could just imagine if I'm not a parent, but I always say like, I always joke around like if I have kids, like it'll be like a training camp. I'm just gonna raise them to be athletes, and that's like the goal.
Monkey bars everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Rock climbing walls all around the house, like all this stuff. But what are some things you try to instill to them, like in terms of health and just wellness and well-being? whether you
Yeah,
want them to be crazy athletes or not.
I would love them to be. I remember when we had our first daughter. So my daughter's 3, and my son is not even 3 months yet. He'll be 3 months this month. So there's not a lot
Congrats.
of like hard and fast teaching, right? There's a lot more just like showing and just setting an example. But I do remember when my brother is a musician, a professional musician, and so I remember my mom saying, "Well, maybe Avery's my daughter's name." She's like, "Well, maybe she'll want to be a musician." And I was like, why? Don't say that. Maybe she'll have good rhythm and it'll like translate to sports.
There you go.
But no, I think so. My wife is also a physical therapist. She's a far better athlete than me. She was
Okay.
a 400-meter hurdler at Arizona. She had a bunch of D1 offers for track and field before she tore her ACL her senior year of volleyball. But she ended up going to U of A on a 50% academic, 50% athletic scholarship and doing 4 years of track and field and hurdles at U of A. So we both are in the gym a lot, right? We have a gym on our back patio. I have an office inside of a little private gym. So Avery comes to that gym with me. Like, she knows that's dad's gym. She'll go outside with my wife when she's working out. I think the only duplicate toy we got for her baby shower was this little play set of like a kettlebell, a dumbbell, and a little protein shaker. And 2 people got us that. And so, just this week, my wife took a video. She was outside working out in the morning, and Avery was laying on the incline bench with a little PVC pipe, just like counting out incline bench reps. She comes to the gym with me. She tries to pick stuff up. She uses like boxes as obstacle courses, and pulls the pins out of the weight stacks and uses them as like shots to give her animals because she pretends to be a doctor. And so, she sees us training, and so she picks up. It's amazing. Like, a 3-year-old's memory is unbelievable. Like, the things they remember is crazy, like the detail. And so, things I've said in passing, right? Like, I'll tell her I'm going to the gym, and she'll ask me like, are you exercising so you can pick me up every year? Because at some point I told her, right, like, I need to be strong so I can pick you up every year of your whole life. And like, she remembers that. The other day, I was weighing myself on our bathroom scale, and so she weighed herself, and then she put the scale away and she picked it up, and she just goes, unprompted, she was like, "This is heavy, but I'm strong." And then she just like carried it back where it went. And so really at this point, at 3 years old, right, it's just like setting an example, doing the thing and letting her be around it and be part of it. And like, she loves coming to the gym with me. She uses like the little safety straps in the squat racks or swings. And she like jumps off of the plyo boxes, and she climbs on the hack squat and like finds ways to get on top of that. And like, it's that, right? Like, she knows that mom goes on a run twice a week, and I take the dog for a run on Sundays, and she wants to go for a run with us if she can. And like, we just encourage all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, it's just leading by example at these ages.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that's like stuff that's going to stick with her forever, right? Like seeing you guys do that and just her being just around it. It's like, that's what I remember as a kid, like things that I just remember, like just being around my parents, and you pick up those things and you're like, well, that's why I do that. So it's
Yes.
kind of cool. And she's got the genetics. If her mom was a D1 hurdler and then dad is fucking beer pong king,
Dude,
unstoppable.
Yeah. Right?
she's taking the
Like,
world over.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going to be
Yeah,
hitting
no.
final cups like this.
I
Yeah,
know.
dude. While
Yeah.
jumping a hurdle like
Well, it's
crazy.
like jumping over somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like, we hope that she likes sport. I mean, she loves watching basketball. She always wants to know, like, it's so funny. Now she'll ask who's winning, right? Like, is the blue team or the white team winning? But before, she used to just be like, blue team happy? Or red team happy? And it's like, so is red team frustrated? Like, she used to always ask these questions, like, are you frustrated? Are you happy? What are you feeling? And so she'd ask that about like the sports teams.
Yeah.
But now she's like, who's winning? Did he dunk it? Like, did he make it? So she likes to watch basketball, and she likes to watch football with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Who are
That's
you
right.
rooting for
I was about to
in the
ask her thing.
NBA finals?
You know what? I'm gonna have to see. I think my brain initially says Spurs, but as just like a NBA fan of NBA history, I think the Spurs are about to have they've got an insane window with this Victor Wembanyama. Like, they've got this 7'5" French guy who's clearly the best player in the world at 22 years old, and They've got 2 other guys who are like 21 and 20. They're just studs.
Mm-hmm.
I think if
Yeah.
the Knicks, and then the New York Knicks, like besides maybe the Lakers, most storied franchise ever, they've never won a championship ever. Or at least it's been a minimum 53 years since they've won.
Who?
Really?
So the New York Knicks.
Whoa.
It's been forever. This is their first trip to the finals since 1999. So like if they win, like what happens in New York City and just from like a basketball history standpoint would be unbelievable.
Yeah,
Like
you gotta go for them.
if you go on Instagram and like look up reels from like what happened when they just won the Eastern Conference Finals a week and a half ago, it was like New York City might not exist. There were like thousands of police officers like preparing for like what was going to happen outside the arena, and this isn't even the finals.
I love
Yeah,
it. I love New York
their
City.
fans are
Insane.
crazy.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
I
that
love
would
that,
be,
like,
that would be
crazy
really
shit.
fun. If the Knicks were to win, right,
Yeah.
their window's smaller and it would just mean more. It'd
Yeah.
be really cool.
Yeah, and maybe a bunch of cities do this. I feel like that's a very New York thing. But then all of a sudden, when the U of A wins stuff, I feel like we try to burn down University or Congress
Yeah.
before that. People here go nuts when the Wildcats are doing something. I absolutely love it. Do I
Yeah.
encourage the behavior? I don't know. Maybe you probably shouldn't do it for legal reasons, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Like there were people up like on top of like up on top of like all the signage outside Madison Square Garden, which is also just like such a historic like
Mhm.
venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts if they were to win. It would be.
Yeah, it's got to be the Knicks.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like so I'm from Massachusetts, so like Boston's also one of those cities where they go nuts with their sports. And like when the Red Sox won the first World Series in like 98 years, which was I think
Yes.
2004, 2003, 2004. That was like the coolest thing because I was in elementary school at the time, and I just remember like, yeah, there was like parade, like crazy parade riots, whatever you call, like all over. It was the best.
Generations of suffering for those fans.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's what people talk about. It's like, you've passed on this sports team from like to your kids, to your grandkids, and part of you is like, God, I wish you didn't have to root for this team because like we're never gonna win. Like we're just
Yeah.
cursed. But like, I'm giving you like my team is your team, and then to like have all that. People are so passionate about sports. Like to have that finally, that's what would happen. Yeah, like I think Boston's probably more of a Red Sox city, and secondary is like the Celtics. I think
Yeah.
New York is even more of a Knicks city than a Yankees city at this point.
Are they?
Because the Yankees have been so good.
I hope the Knicks win. Yeah, the Yankees just win
like,
all the time.
The Knicks have that. Like, are we cursed? Like
Yeah.
what's happening here? Yeah.
Fun. Yeah, I used to be big into sports, and then recently, I say this recently, it's been like 4 years I've been saying I need to get back into watching football. I used to be I grew up a Patriots fan. I was a huge Patriots fan because Gronk went to the U of A. Gronk went to the U of A, Teddy Bruschi, I loved them. And then when they left, I was like, all right, I'm done watching this stupid game. And then recently I got back, and to your point of like being cursed, I was talking to my wife and was like, well, we got to pick a team. And my dad's favorite team as a kid was the Vikings. So I was like, oh, I'll probably like pick the Vikings or something. Another franchise that has not done great historically. But my wife was like, no, we're from Arizona. We have to be Cardinals fans. And I was like, now hang on a moment.
That's not even a thing.
Yeah. I was like, no, you're not understanding. This is about picking a team, not picking the curse of the league. We can't do that. And she's like, no, but we're a Cardinals fan. We have to do this. And she's so passionate about the fact that we have to be Cardinals fans that for Christmas, she got 3 Cardinals, like a sweater, 2 shirts. Someone got her a Cardinals blanket that sits on the dog bed, and then she got a Cardinals mug for like Christmas and her birthday. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, we are Cardinals fans. And so apparently I'm just a fan of the Cardinals now, which is fine because I'm from here, but just like another tortured league of just not ever pulling it out.
But different in the fact that it's like no one cares.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, everyone who lives in Arizona is from somewhere else anyway. So it's like no one cares.
That is true.
That's why I feel like I kind of have to be because I was born here. So it's like I gotta be a Cardinals fan. And I feel bad because I'm so disappointed saying it. It's like, who's your team? It's the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's you almost have to have another team. You're like, but I also root for the Vikings.
Yeah, I like the Vikings too, though. It's great. Don't worry about it.
Right. I always wear purple socks on game day, even though I'm wearing red jersey, whatever.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And I grew
Man.
up as a Blazers fan when they were really good,
Mhm.
like when they were like knocking on the door of a championship. And at that point, it was the only professional sports organization in Oregon. So like we had one team to root for. Right now, there's soccer, but it's still just basketball and soccer. Like there's no football, there's no baseball,
No hockey?
there's no hockey. We had a
No.
like AAA, like whatever's one below. We had like the Winter Hawk. They're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So like it was Seahawks and Mariners if you're going to root for football and baseball, but the only team in town was the Blazers.
Yeah, man.
So
I'm assuming in
pretty
Oregon,
crazy.
it's college sports is probably big, right? Like everyone's just going for the Ducks.
Yep, Ducks and Beavers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How fun. Well, you could root for the Kraken now. That's Washington.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
I don't. I've never cared about hockey. I don't
That's
understand.
funny.
I don't watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like it because they fight. That's my favorite part of it. That's the only reason I'm a big fighting sports fan or combat sports fan. So hockey I like because they're like I'm fucking you up and throw their gloves down. I'm like yes, more of that. Less hockey and stick stuff. Let's just duke it out. That would be a great sport. Why aren't they fighting more? They should encourage this. They should get a point. You should get a point if you knock the other guy down. They should be like point to the other team. Fuck yeah.
It would be pretty wild if other sports allowed that, right? Like if two football players could just take their helmets off and that signaled we're going to fight now. Or basketball. Can you imagine two guys who are both like 6'11" with no equipment on? You just like go to center court, start fighting.
David, not only can I imagine that, I think it would be better. I think it would make sports better. I think there'd be less flopping and there'd be less baloney if you just had enforcers. Yeah.
There'd be no flopping. Yeah, the NBA used to have that. They would allow, not like a straight up, we're going to go to center court and we're going to fight.
Yeah.
But like there were some fights in the 90s, for sure.
Yeah, good. I'm here for it. I love it. I want more of it, man. Dave, do you have any other questions?
I do have one.
Because
I'm curious, like, you've been coaching for years and, physical therapist and all that. What are you looking to do? Like, what are the next steps in your career or like goals that you have for that?
Great question. So I've had the opportunity to teach quite a bit since 2021. I traveled and taught a course called Pain-Free Performance for 4 years. So like hosted 40 in-person weekend certifications, and just, I'm really passionate about teaching. I also think I'm very good at it. Like I think my best skill is as a teacher. It's my favorite part of coaching and treating as well, is like creating those aha light bulb moments for clients and patients. And so I'm actually, right before I jumped on this call, I was filling out my official application because I got invited to join A.T. Still University's DPT program as like a very part-time adjunct faculty in their therapeutic exercise department. So I'm going to step into a role there in July, and then I'm building out my own continuing education course. So an 8-hour, one-day course that will teach fitness professionals primarily kind of a systematic way to look at program design and pain, so that, let's say your client experiences pain mid-session or comes in saying something's hurting, how do you kind of like quickly and effectively make decisions that maintain the integrity of that training day or that training program while doing everything you can to like mitigate and reduce pain? Because we know that, right, the worst thing to do when you experience pain is to stop moving altogether. And for the most part, fitness professionals aren't getting paid like to solve pain. They're getting paid to like accomplish goals, make progress, right, lose weight, build muscle, whatever. And so from the standpoint of like, from a business standpoint, if you don't have to lose clients because they have pain and they don't stop training with you, if you can actually be part of the solution to that problem while like confidently saying, right, I'm going to help you with this pain, and we're not going to sacrifice progress towards the goals that you came to me to accomplish, that's going to be like the purpose of the course. So teaching a little bit of pain science, like just enough to be dangerous, and have a conversation about how complex pain is and how that complexity means there's a lot of opportunity to move forward. It's not just one thing that we have to solve. There's so many potential avenues and inputs that can increase and therefore decrease pain. Going over like the fundamental rules of program design for the things that most clients come in asking about. So how do I get stronger? How do I build muscle? How do I improve my endurance? Or how do I, what I'm kind of capturing as functional athleticism, right? Just move better. And so like a hierarchy, right? What are the things we absolutely have to maintain if the goal is to build muscle? What are the variables that are like, we can keep them, they help, but they're not absolutely necessary? And then what are the variables that are really not contributing to that adaptation at all? And that's where we start manipulating the program or the session for that day to try and eliminate pain while maintaining the purpose of the session. So, I think we've talked for a long time about exercise being medicine, and that's just kind of like a mantra. And, what Ethan was saying to start the podcast, my last podcast episode was about how saying it depends as a coach is only a good answer if you then follow up and tell the person what it depends on. And so I think, exercise as medicine is really fun to say. I don't think we have tapped into 5% of the type of medicine it actually is. Like, we're not telling people what it's treating. And so I'm definitely it treats all kinds of things, right? Prevents things, improves things, prevents recurrence of things. But I think something that's not talked about enough is I think exercise is really, really good pain medicine. And especially musculoskeletal pain is a massive problem, right? Domestically, internationally, like the prevalence of low back pain is super high. It's the number one reason for missed work, which means missed revenue. It's the number 2 reason people go see their doctor after just, I have a common cold. And there's so little money that goes towards musculoskeletal pain as compared to other health issues that are not nearly as common. One of the best things we have for musculoskeletal pain or pain in general is movement. And so I think helping kind of move the needle and saying, movement is medicine, exercise is medicine. Specifically, it's fantastic pain medicine. It's very needed. Doctors don't know how to prescribe it. Physical therapists are great at it for a very specific condition and are limited by insurance. They also just don't have the touch points that coaches have, right? We see people 1, 2, 3, 5 times a week. We're outside of insurance, so we can kind of do whatever we want. And if you could be the coach that people come to, right, when they've got pain, like, it's going to be amazing for your business. When your current clients experience pain, you don't lose them. Right. So that's great for business. It's great for the people you work with. So that's, I think, to get all the way back to your question, I want to do more teaching. And starting this fall, it'll be teaching my own course.
That's super cool. And do you plan on doing the course like online, in person, traveling to different gyms?
Yeah, traveling in person first. I've got a gym. I'll be in LA in October, ideally like San Francisco area in November. And I want to do maybe one in September, one in December this year, and then eventually online. But I need to kind of need to test the course in person. There's going to be a lot of questions I can't anticipate. I also think there's just so much value in in-person education. Much value in in-person education.
For
From
sure.
just networking with the other people in the room, getting around other coaches who care enough, people who have made it more than the 1 year most trainers survive, like who are investing in knowledge. And so, yeah, in person to start, eventually online. The podcast is part of that process, going from just Instagram to some longer form teaching content. Yeah, eventually online, maybe some community stuff. But yeah, that's where that's going, is like more and more teaching, so that then the coaches I teach can go out and have a bigger impact.
For sure.
That's great. Yeah, that's how I met you, was doing the PPSC. And to your comment about not making it past the first year, I think I was in my first year when I met you initially, and I am
Like
now on. Yeah, I was super part-time. I think I was working like maybe 12 or 15 hours a week, and now I'm on year 4 and a half, something like that. I don't know. Time has blended, but I'm 4 years in. I do think that that program, your teaching of it, the hands-on, the practical knowledge was like a huge piece of continuing my making me realize there's so much to learn and so much opportunity to make a difference with a lot of this stuff, and the information is just out there. And I was already hungry. I took the course and was like, I'm just going to continue doing, I'm going to go to as many of these as I can and learn as much as I can. And so shout out to you for doing that, because like we said about the mental health thing, sometimes making an effect on one person. I was a person that you affected in that, the PPSC that I took of yours 4 years ago. And I met you, networked with you, we've done some stuff together, and made a difference in me pursuing this as a career. So appreciate you for that. It makes a difference.
For sure. Yeah, and there's too many people who need high quality exercise for the statistics to be what they are, right? Like the fact that 80% of personal trainers don't make it 1 year and 90% don't survive 2 years, it's not a reflection on the fact that there's not a need for their services.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yes.
a reflection on the fact that the bar for entry is fucking literally under the ground.
Yeah.
And therefore, they can't actually help people. Right? That's the problem. Like, if they were helping people, they would be fine. They would make a career of this because there's such a need. Right? Especially with this idea of like exercise as a form of medicine, not just like abs and butts.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people and there's so many medical providers who like need quality fitness professionals to refer to, right? And that they can trust and they think will understand, right? That, someone who's not just walking in 100% trying to lose 10 pounds with no limitations. Yeah. There's too much need for it to be such a hard place to make a career.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I gave a speech, or I went and presented at a class at the U of A a couple months ago, and I was thinking about what presentation I wanted to do, and the interesting thought I had was I was thinking about why the turnover is so high. And I think I lucked out. Like, I am not a fool to know that I lucked out finding Joseph and the gym and how he does stuff and operates and pays and handles employees. But that is what brought me to this idea, and I'm curious what you think about it, is like the industry itself puts, the bar is so low, but then when you get out into the field, there's no infrastructure, there's no help. It's just like, hey, you're now a business owner, you're on your own, find clients and figure it out. If I got a job anywhere else, there's it's on the job training, there's a boss. If you go into one of these gyms and it's a 1099, a lot of the times they're not helping you market, they're not showing you stuff. They're like, you're a trainer, figure this out yourself. And I think that's it's such an odd thing where there's just no help. There's no help to anyone. And it's like the gym owners don't help you. You really are just on your own. And I think that's a huge contribution to why people burn out. Not curious to hear your standpoint on it. Not that I necessarily have a solution, honestly, but it's just a fascinating part of the career that I see clear as day as a huge problem in the industry.
Yeah, well, I have plenty of thoughts on this. If you start out in the big box setting, right, like an EOS, a 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, something like that, you're gonna have lots of like at bats with prospective clients if you're comfortable like walking the floor and talking to people. But you're also not going to have help really from how do I become a good coach? Like, how do I become a good trainer standpoint? Like, maybe they've got partnerships with continuing education courses and you get a discount, but you're still paying for that out of pocket. Yeah. Right? It's not like a physical therapy clinic where, part of your compensation package is a yearly continuing education stipend, because at least in the state of Arizona, you don't need any education of any kind to be a personal trainer. You don't need to be a CPT. You don't have to have had to pass any test, right? It's like you need a high school diploma and you need to like walk in the doors with a pulse.
I don't think you need that.
Not look like you're actually crazy.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a 2-day in-house certification. So part of it is like maybe the guy who should be or girl who should be your mentor, they don't know jack shit either. Like, I think the average number of continuing education courses a trainer takes in their career is 0.9.
Really?
Which, it speaks to the fact that they don't even make it a year, so they never made enough money to invest in it.
Good point.
But yeah, there's no real structure. A lot of times it's, I was talking to someone yesterday who worked at Vasa for 9 months, and she's like, after 9 months at Vasa, the only trainers who were still there from when I started was me and my best friend. Everyone else had left. And so, like, what's the client experience then? I have a new trainer every 3 months. I start over. I tell them all the same stories, right? I never make any progress because I'm just starting from it's like either it's too hard, it's too easy, no one knows who I am, so I just quit. But no, it's a great point, because the other side of that coin is I go independent right away. Well, who's sending me clients? Right?
No one.
It's not doing it for you because right, bookkeeping, HR, and everything else, because overhead on gyms. That's why I wouldn't want to open a gym if it had to make money, because overhead's terrible. Like, you got to be really successful or have a lot of money before you start. So yeah, it's really challenging when you come in underprepared or unprepared, and then there is no usually like in-house mentorship. There's gyms where it's different. Like, you're talking about Block is different. The Collective up here in Gilbert is totally different. Like, their owners will We'll hold their coaches' hands and show them their systems and like, what do you want to accomplish inside of our setting? Like, how do we introduce you to members? What kind of people do you want to convert from class to one-on-one? Let's teach you small group training, right? You want to pursue nutrition? We need someone. Like, every time we host a course, you get to take it for free. It's like, oh my God, that's one gym. Like one gym. They have 5 coaches. You know what I mean? And they've got members who've been there for 18 years. So like that could happen everywhere. Yeah. But, you know, it's venture capital money in big box gyms who don't value fitness. It's like treating a personal trainer like a drive-through employee because it's probably the same education. I was talking to my barber last month, and to open up a barber shop, he had to have 1,500 hours of supervised. And you're like, what about everything under your hair? Like everything below your hair is something a personal trainer could help with. And we're like, that's so funny. You want to work here? You got a job, right? No hours. Man. Yeah. So yeah, like, that is it's like a systemic underappreciation of like the complexity of this, the power of it. Because again, gyms are fairly new. It's not a super old concept, right? It's like, I don't know, it's like step aerobics and bodybuilding is still the majority of the history of fitness. Yes. And then just like people who want to do weird stuff like pick up really heavy things, you know? Yeah. It's very new that it's like this is part of being healthy, right? Yeah. It's like literally right now that's happening.
That's a great point. We're in the middle of its growth.
Yeah, there's huge. I mean, you see it online. I think there's just what I don't see a lot of is like people talking about in-person mentorship or in-person kind of apprenticeship or however you want to say it. Teaching people how to be good in-person coaches. It's just always like, as soon as possible, stop working with people in person, doesn't scale, go online, I'll mentor you there. And so I think there's opportunities locally anywhere to be like, this is a mentorship for this is an in-person mentorship for in-person trainers who want to work with clients in person. That's what we do. And that could be, again, the hard part is trainers don't make any money. So it's like, who's paying you for that? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, obviously not an easy solution, but I agree. It's a huge problem.
Yeah. Well, maybe the three of us will solve that problem at some point. I think we've got we can do it.
I mean, we can like give us a couple games of beer pong, like a triangular table.
There we go. Yeah.
Ideas.
Spitball some ideas. Yeah. Dude, next I'm in. You don't have to. Next weekend. Yeah. Do it in Austin.
I had my bachelor party in Austin. Played lots of beer pong.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we don't need to get into them because I'll spin out about it, but I can't stand this online thing of like a coach who I know has never coached a person in person, or they've done it for 6 months and then they go online and they're selling plans online that they're not actually doing, and then they go right into the like, are you a coach that's trying not to coach in person and wants to coach online? I'll coach you how to coach those coaches about persons in line. And you're like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm going to lose my mind.
Nope, it's bad. It's rough out there.
It gets crazy. Yeah. Day, unless you have any other questions, I have a final question for Mr. David here. Okay, David, I kind of want to ask both, but if you were to give advice to a new physical therapist entering school today, what would that be? Like something you wish.
Have they already been accepted, or are they applying?
No, they're in. They're in.
Okay.
Could you do both? Are they different?
I would just say yeah.
Okay.
I would say I hope you chose a school that was not super expensive.
Interesting.
So I went to a very expensive physical therapy school, private. My wife went to a public physical therapy school. Her 3-year program cost as much as 1 year of my program for the same letters after our name, and her first salary out of school was higher than mine. Her student loans are paid off. Mine are higher than they were when I graduated. So the financial return on investment on physical therapy is shit. It's not good. So I guess what I would say to someone who was like, my school is really expensive, do you have any other advice? I would probably, my biggest thing with physical therapy is I think we have sort of given away or outsourced our most impactful skill set, and that is exercise. Like there's nothing physical therapists do that is more impactful than exercise, right? Like cracking someone's back, using cups, dry needling, right? Soft tissue work, maybe really high quality patient education is on par with movement if it facilitates more movement, right, and less fear. But I think we've given that skill to like support staff in a large way, which on one level makes sense because I certainly don't want a high school kid cracking someone's neck, but they're not doing any service to the exercise or the impact that movement could have on those patients, right? It's like the average physical therapy clinic is like small group training with even less qualified trainers than you'd find in the gym. It's not good, and more complex patients.
Yeah.
So it's like people who need more supervision getting less supervision from people with even less interest in exercise than someone who at least trains themselves and was like, I think I want to try being a trainer.
Yeah.
And so I think I would just really encourage, like, if you can get really good at prescribing exercise and coaching, like the skills of coaching, you will differentiate yourself pretty quickly, and you'll probably be able to create a work setting for yourself that is outside of like maybe the traditional setting, or at least have like the biggest impact of any clinician in your workplace if you're the one who uses exercise the best. So it's like, just don't think that the therapeutic exercise curriculum you get in school is sufficient. You should be pursuing additional exercise education and training and coaching education throughout PT school, and you will come out way ahead.
Yeah. That's good advice, it sounds like. I mean, I obviously never went to PT school, but when we have our interns in, I say the same thing. You got to learn how to exercise. It's just so important. You really have to know. So, like, just train yourself, be in the gym. You got to learn stuff. So I like it.
It is interesting. Like I've met a few people in sport medicine, whether it's athletic trainers or physical therapists, who like mentioned that there was only like a block, like a very quick block in their whole curriculum where they learned about exercise prescription and all that stuff. And it just blows my mind because I have a lot of athletic trainers, physical therapist friends who are very fit. And so like I just assume that everyone in sport medicine knows the basics of like just training. Like I'm like, it's like common knowledge. And then as I've like, met more people, I've met physical therapists who like have no idea, athletic trainers who have no idea. And it blows my mind because it's like, oh, this is something that's like, yeah, I took it for granted based on like the friends I have who like know all this stuff. So I'm like, oh, every physical therapist, every athletic trainer, they know this stuff. And then you talk to more of them, especially like the older population, and it's just like, oh, this isn't common knowledge. This is something you have to seek out in addition to your curriculum. Yes. So yeah, I think it's nuts that that's the case.
Yeah, I have a friend who I need to follow up with her. She was gonna try and connect me with her grandmother, who lives out in Hawaii. And she's like, my brother and sister-in-law are both physical therapists in Hawaii. There's nothing physical about either of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, again, we can talk about this next weekend.
Yeah, we'll rant.
That'd be my rant on my podcast.
Yeah.
Physical therapists who don't exercise.
Yeah, I'm sure you
can. Get them out of the profession.
Get them out.
Make more money. Yeah.
I like that. I say stand on it. I agree with you. I've taught a few physical therapists now how to hinge, and it's kind of a funny game to play with them.
Crazy.
It's so much fun
to
honestly.
Think about, like, yeah.
It's kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie. But all right, hey David, thank you for coming on. Do you have any parting words, anything you want to plug, anything you're doing? I do want to mention, obviously we'll talk after this, but you're gonna come to our gym and do your seminar for us.
So. I mean, I don't know how fast this gets released, but I'll be in Tucson in 3 days.
Tonight.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. I'll be in this weekend, which is what, June?
Oh yeah. Dude, something's up with my brain.
For a deadlift workshops, we'll be going over some like unique warm-up and physical prep options and movements specific to like the 4 major muscle groups that are involved in a deadlift. So both improving performance and reducing injury risk. And then we'll talk about some technique work, and we'll talk a little bit about just deadlift in general and kind of like training the low back and low back pain and some of the unfounded fears around that stuff. So that'll be this weekend. And then, I'm 4 episodes into a new podcast. It sits on top of 98 previous episodes of my old show. So anyone who goes to listen to the Smarter Strength podcast can go back through a massive library. I had Mark Bell on twice. I had Steffi Cohen on. I've had the director of fitness for Men's Health. Ebenezer Samuel was a guest. I had some really awesome guests and some really cool interviews. And then the new episodes are weekly. It's designed to solve problems for coaches. Like each week we talk about a common problem, a solution, and an action to take. And then sooner rather than later, there will be probably 2 episodes a week because I'll start doing some interviews again as well.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a great podcast.
Very cool.
Love it. Yeah. My head's so scrambled, and I almost just looked at you. Why are you going to be in Tucson? Anyway, I know exactly why. Yeah, it'll be at Block Fitness. It'll be at my gym, so it'll be great. Okay, well, hey, thank you, everybody, for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with people. It helps the podcast move forward. So thanks, David.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peace.